Did you know that the vast majority of running injuries and athletic injuries kind of in general, can be managed in 14 days or less? Especially for running injuries, actually 14 days is a long time to be going through rehab in my experience working with my clients in the past. This, of course, can be very context dependent. It depends on what you've been struggling with, how long you've been struggling with it, how deep down the rabbit hole you are. But in general, most cases of lower leg injuries, we're talking things like shin splints, plantar fasciitis, calf and Achilles strains. So something that's going on from like the toes to below the knees, that region of the body. That's what we're talking about here. So how can we manage it so quickly? Because typically, if you get something like shin splints, or plantar fasciitis or calf and Achilles strains, what are you typically told? You're basically given the exact same advice, which is that it's going to take usually between 4 and 8 weeks. So you're talking 1 to 2 months of either no training or minimal training, depending on the severity of it. Your doctor may tell you different things. You're told to ice it. You are told to do a lot of stretching. Maybe this is all the worst advice you can get. And I'm going to go through, and I want to go through what is the problem with those things, and also what can we do instead? What makes a high quality mobility program that gets you out of pain, that gets you able to run, able to exercise without feeling like, I feel like my shin's going to rip off the bone, the shin muscle. I feel like my foot just wants to explode. I feel like my calf is actually going to rip off the heel. Hopefully, it hasn't actually gotten to that point because that does happen with Achilles strains. If that does happen, please go see your doctor. They will be able to advise best on that. So, we're not talking about that severe of an issue, right? So, I'm going to back up a little bit in my thoughts here. Let's talk about why things like resting, icing, and taking pain meds and just simply stretching doesn't work. Because, well, think about it. Why would it work? Your problem, what actually caused it? Typically, when we're talking about athletic problems, so you're an athlete and you feel like there is an issue. You have pain. Maybe there's some blood. Maybe something feels or sounded like it ripped. How do you know you have a problem? Typically because it's hurting. What can cause hurting? Typically, we have four standard categories of how this stuff happens. Illness, like anyone who's had the flu, you know that you have body aches, especially like around your lower back, around your tops of the shoulders, and in the neck. Things hurt. Okay? It could be catastrophe. So let's say that you play football and someone tackled you in the side of the leg and your knee quite literally shattered. Sucks. That is what we call a catastrophic incident. Now, with these two things that we just listed, illness and catastrophe, you have something external to your body that basically invades you in some way. If it's an illness, it's a pathogen, bacteria, virus, fungus, mold, mold is a fungus, that gets into your body and makes you ill. Catastrophe, something external to your body, whether that's, the floor, the stairs, or another human being. They collided with you in some way that caused you severe harm. And that can be things like something broke, something tore, something got lacerated, right? Are we kind of on the same page there? What else can cause you athletic injuries and pain? Horrible technique on repeat for years and years, and immobility, meaning there's excessive tension in the body. So, for example, your quadricep muscles, they are not attached to your quad bone. That may be the first time I've ever referred to the femur as the quad bone, but just like that section of your body, the quads insert into the top of the shin, so they go over the knee. They cross over a joint. So if we make those quad muscles really tight, what's happening to that joint? Instead of moving around hunky-dory with some space, it's really tight and now it's moving with a lot of pressure, a lot of tension, a lot of friction. So why do we feel knee pain then 4, 5, 6 years down the road? Well, maybe we've had a million repetitions of really tight squats every single year for a while, and now we've had millions and millions, literally millions of repetitions of squatting with maybe poor technique and really bad mobility. Things like this don't happen overnight. So when you develop things like shin splints, when you develop things like plantar fasciitis and calf strains, they don't happen because you had this one moment of things being bad. Now, your technique and or your mobility has been absolute crap for at least months, if not years, and then something eventually gives way. So we have to decide which category do you actually fit into. If you get shin splints, are you having shin specific pain Because you're sick. We'll go through the other symptoms of illness. Are you having any nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, night sweats, dizziness, any sudden changes in your weight, any sudden changes in your bowel or bladder function, anything like that going on? No? Okay. Is it caused by catastrophe? Did something hit you in the shins specifically? No. Is it caused by you suddenly increased the amount of running volume that you're doing? Is it caused maybe because, whether you know it or not, you are crashing your heel into the floor every single time you jump and land and every single time you run? Maybe. Is it caused because your ankles are so freaking tight and stiff that when you do run, even if you do run mechanically well, your ankles cannot disperse the impact force well enough, and your lower legs are having to absorb way too much impact force on repeat? Maybe. Use your best judgment here, guys. If you have one of the first two categories going on, go see your doctor. That's what they're trained for. If it's either of the three or four, I guarantee you that if you go see a physiotherapist, like a typical one, or if you go see a medical doctor, even if it's a sports medicine doctor, if you have an issue with your running or your jumping and landing, like box jumps, or you're deadlifting, whatever, and you hurt yourself because of the way you're doing that, I guarantee you your doctor is not going to help to improve your technique or your mobility. They never do because that is not what they're trained for. You do not go see a medical doctor because you have an athletic technique problem. What you do is that you find a mobility expert who is trained in this stuff. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. 98% of all problems that we're thinking about, like gym problems, are caused by a combination of poor technique and poor mobility. You typically get the two together. If you have great technique, your mobility tends to fix itself pretty well if it's not too bad to begin with. And if you have really good mobility, you tend to kind of naturally develop better technique, not necessarily optimal or the best technique. But we need to understand that resting, it just means that you're having time off and you can get rid of pain, at least your perception of pain during that time, but then you come back. Did you actually improve your technique? No, then you go back and you're deadlifting, you're running the exact same way, the pain comes back. Because why wouldn't it? That's what caused it to begin with. Nothing fundamentally changed, right? Icing just numbs it. If you make something numb, your body can't feel pain. Your body doesn't know that there is a problem. You do not heal. In fact, people are still obsessed with the RICE method. Do you remember RICE? Rest, ice, compress, and elevate. The guy who coined that, like back in, I don't know, 2012, really quick Google search, we'll find it. He took it back and said, this is not good. You should not be icing things. Resting is fine to a degree. Elevation, that's fine to a degree. Compression is wonderful. Compression is absolutely wonderful, and we're going to be talking about using compression. But icing, it delays healing. If your body doesn't know that there's a problem, why would it be healing a problem? If it can't feel that there's pain there, same reason why pain pills are bad, because they do fundamentally the same thing. And stretching as well. Just simply stretching, it doesn't do anything to fix your mobility, never has, never will. And it doesn't do anything to improve your technique. So why would it fix anything? It wouldn't, and it doesn't. Sometimes people have, technically they have like short-term results with this. They will feel better largely because they're not repeatedly displaying poor technique. And then they get back to running, they get back to weightlifting, and then eventually a problem comes back. And it may even be a different problem next time. So what can we do instead? This can be applied to any athletic movement. Learn how to biomechanically run well. Human beings, we have structures that are structured very specifically for running and for weightlifting. We are made to be athletic creatures. We are strong, we are powerful. Forget about how we are quite weak relative to all other creatures in the animal kingdom. If we run well, running injuries don't happen. If we have great mobility and we run well, you're about as strong of a runner as you can ever be. So you learn how to run biomechanically well, because like we have an arch in our foot. The arch exists for a reason. People never talk about this, even when they're talking about like running and running coaching and running injuries. Your arch is a spring. It is there to help you to absorb impact force. It exists for a reason. Just side note, there's no such thing as having an arch that's too high. It doesn't exist. That is not a real thing. That is a made up idea from people who will not be able to tell you what I just said about why an arch even exists. They won't be able to tell you that because they don't have a clue. So learn how to um, run well, learn how to move well, learn how to deadlift well. Deadlifting's not bad for your back. Deadlifting really poorly is bad for your back. And improve your mobility. Do things that are observable, measurable, and repeatable, right? One of the things that we're going to go through is you need to be able to squat really well if you want to be a good runner because that displays do you have enough hip range of motion, knee range of motion, ankle range of motion to be a human being, to be able to run well. If you don't, then we need to do work that improves that position. But we need to be able to observe that the squat position is getting better. We need to be able to measure it reasonably with our eyes, not something that detects, okay, you are 0.000 degrees 0.3 degrees better in your flexion and external rotation, whatever. And it needs to be repeatable, as in you do it the next day and it helps to improve your position that little bit more. You do it the next day, it helps to improve your position a little bit more. If that drill is just like a one-off thing and it never works again for you, it's a waste of time. Don't do it. Running technique matters. All right. Look at this quick video of me. Every single human being, when you jump and land, you will jump and land on the balls of your feet, no exceptions. Period. Full stop. End of statement. If you have feet, if you have legs, if you can physically run and jump and land, you will jump and land as if you're skipping rope on the balls of your feet. There are no exceptions whatsoever. Nobody in the world will be jumping rope on their heels. Why? Well, because that's how your feet are structured. Like I said before, the ball of your foot, your arch, and your ankle kind of work together to create a spring. As I am going through, see, can I actually adjust? Whoops. The That's fine, that's fine. So as I'm going through this, you can see how my ankles and my knees and my hips can kind of collapse. That provides time to absorb and distribute forces. Try going on your heels, and this is best done actually feeling it. There's no collapse there. You do not jump and land on your heels, period. If you do, the only reason you're doing it is because you're on a surface or in a shoe that provides so much cushion, you can BS your way through it. And we don't want to be doing that. All right. So your heel was never meant to strike firmly repeatedly. You can feel the jolting through your body. You will understand this immediately when you actually do what I did in that video. Seriously, take your shoes off and try it. Or don't take your shoes off, doesn't matter, it's the same result. Um, this is kind of specific to running technique, but you want to be thinking about falling forward when you're running so that gravity is propelling you forward rather than jumping forward. Because if you jump forward, you're jumping up and down rather than just going forward. Make sense? You want to be thinking about pulling up with your hamstrings. So you pull your heel straight up towards your butt. That's what you're trying to feel for, so that your foot comes under your center of mass, and then it just kind of naturally falls as much as possible under your center of mass. And you keep your foot relaxed so that it naturally angles downwards. You're not trying to force it down. You're not trying to force it up. The ankle's just relaxed. And so it becomes, if you just stand up and you pull your knee up and your foot's nice and relaxed, it will naturally be angled downwards. That's the angle at which you hit the ground. And you land with the ball of your foot. Easy. That's what running technique looks like. And we can go through the same methodology for any movement. We could go through deadlifting technique, squatting technique, overhead pressing technique, etc. All right, mobility work. This is the meat and potatoes here. What you need, guys, is for these drills, you need massage balls, you need resistance bands, you need a voodoo floss strap, and you need a massage gun. If you get those things, and I have an Amazon wish list that has like some of the better quality ones you can get, it'll be in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're not watching this on YouTube, go find this. There's another copy of it on my YouTube, and find that link and you can get this stuff in. It's relatively cheap. And every athlete needs this stuff in their toolkit. Okay, so here's how this stuff works. You have drills to go through. What you're going to do is you're going to test your position. If you do not test your position, all of this is a waste of time for you. This is number one for a reason. You test your position, you go through these drills, and then, pardon me, you retest your position to display validity. Is what I'm doing actually working to make me a stronger and better athlete? And we know that because your position is getting better. You get better at position, your mobility is actually improving. This is how you prove that it's working rather than making an assumption. You know that drill when you like cross one foot over the other and you just reach down to stretch out your hamstring? Is that actually making any change? Who knows? You're not testing anything. I personally don't recommend that you do it. All right, all three videos are going to be playing at the same time. We'll start from the left to go right. Now, I have other videos going through these positions individually with their gold standards. I'm going to have a link to that as well. Go find that to go through the gold standards. That will take too much time. It's not the objective of this video. We want to quickly be going through how do I construct a quality mobility program that's actually going to make a change and make me a better athlete. So, squatting, can you squat ass to grass, yes or no? Couch stretch. Can you actually get your back to the wall in that shape? That's basically a deep lunge, is the couch stretch. And the pistol squat. Pistol squat is kind of optional here. It's if you have the strength in the squatting range of motion anyways, go for it. But the pistol squat is just, do I have enough ankle range of motion to do a pistol squat? That's kind of like the epitome of ankle range of motion. You require more ankle range than you do in a squat. So if the ankles are the issue and you like have the strength and the experience to go through a pistol, or maybe you want to hold on to something like the squat rack that's behind me there, or a chair, or whatever, give it a try. It will give you a further demonstration, but it's kind of an exaggeration of the squat. Okay, let's move on. But basically, these are your three basic positions for lower body mobility. All right. Massage balls. You want to be using these gently for about 2 minutes at a time on each of these five positions of your body. So starting off, foot massage. That's something everyone needs to do every single day anyways. Foot massage, shin massage, and moving around on your calves. And the way you want to do this, guys, is you want to think about rolling in every single direction possible. Roll up and down, side to side, corner to corner, roll around in circles. Write your name in your muscles because you want to be getting every single angle and direction possible, right? Move on your shins. Be careful on the shins. They tend to be way more gnarly, shall we say, than most people kind of expect with these. They typically don't expect their shins to be so freaking tight and inflamed, but you get some pressure in there and they tend to feel pretty bad for most people, especially if you're a runner or like a CrossFitter, they're probably going to feel pretty bad. And then your calf muscles. So 2 minutes on each of these. And the very first time you do this, you want to retest your squat. Oh yeah, I should probably say just pick one position to test at a time. Squat, see what that feels like, what it looks like. Take a picture, take a video of yourself, and then you want to go through, the foot massage, retest your squat, go through the shin massage, retest your squat, go through the calf massage, retest your squat. Figure out what feels the best, and you're going to do that for all the rest of these drills. And you compile a list of, hey, these are the best 4 or 5, or you can go through all of them. These are the drills that are making an immediate change. You're going to keep going through those every single day, cycle through them, and get better at squatting. That's going to fix your ankle pain. That's going to fix your knee pain, your foot pain, shin pain, whatever. And then working on your quads. So you're thinking the right above the knee up to the hip bone on the front of your thigh, and work on your glutes. Glutes is the fancy term for your bum. Literally, gluteus means butt. Gluteus maximus, that means your big butt muscles. But yeah, when we're dealing with the massage work, guys, it is a case of slow, steady, breathe. 2 minutes per area. You need to be able to breathe deeply. If you're creating so much pain that you take your breath away, you are in too deep and your body is going to stress out. Your body is going to fight against what you're doing. And you want to be able to relax so that you can change and adapt. Your body does not change and adapt nearly as well when it is stressed. Yeah, that was next. Ankle and hip distraction. I'm not going to go into the science at all on joint distractions because that's in other video content of mine, so go watch those. Ankles and hips. Basically, you're just putting a band, not a surgical hose kind of band, like a big resistance band, around your ankle bone, well, around the bottom of your shin bone, really, and up around the top of your femur, and just follow along with the video. Move around in these ways for 2 total minutes. Just do one leg at a time, one drill at a time, and then test your squat or your couch stretch, whatever it is, your pistol, and see if you can feel a difference. Typically, you find a big, massive difference. Okay? I'm just going to wait until these videos are done so you kind of see the whole thing. But yeah, doing the hips, I'll typically do, well, ankles as well, like 30 seconds per direction. So you're going in like each of the cardinal directions. You don't have to line up with a compass, of course, that'd be silly and kind of excessive. But yeah, so pulling to the front, back, and each of the sides, about 30 seconds each way. Voodoo Floss, if you do not have Voodoo Floss, you need to get it. Get it from Rogue Fitness, get it from the Ready State account on Amazon. This stuff is the bomb diggity. It is the best tool. All athletes need to have it. period, full stop, because it addresses the vast majority of mobility restrictions all at the same time. Whereas everything else is maybe just working on one or two things at a time. This works on everything. If you don't know what that means, go check out my other content. I talk about like the facets of mobility because there's different things that your body does to restrict your range of motion, to create swelling, to make things tight and casted so that you can't move. And that exists for a reason. I've definitely gotten a tan since these videos were moving. Like I'm still quite pale, but you can see I've got some color compared to this guy here. Hair's also a bit longer. Anyways, voodoo flossing, your ankles and your knees, thighs, you can work that both going around the knee. Always make sure that you skip the kneecap. Otherwise, you will grind the kneecap into your femur, and that can create some tendonitis there, arthritis. It will suck. Don't do that. But yeah, you put it on 2 minutes, and then you're just trying to move around as best you can, breathe, relax, then take it off. Do the other foot or other knee, other thigh. 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off for basically as much time as you have for. I typically recommend about 5 rounds or about 20 minutes working through that. It's effective. Lymph node massage. I've got loads of other content talking about the lymphatic system and why that's so important. But basically, massage gun. We do not just simply use a massage gun where you are sore. You will create numbness because it's just repeated percussion. It's kind of like when you use a lawnmower and you're just going over and over again and makes your hands numb because it's just constant shaking. Same thing, that's making it numb. What do we know about numbness? It means your body can't adequately feel what's going on. And if your body doesn't know that there's a problem, why would it be trying to heal a problem? You're going to take a massage gun, you're going to put it gently, lovingly, carefully into your belly. You're going to put it into your hip crease and inner thigh, into the back of your knee. You're going to be doing this for about 20 seconds on each part. For the belly, I divide that up into thirds. So the middle, the left, and the right side, and I do 20 seconds per bit just because it is a large surface area. Kind of the same thing with the inner thigh, go for a little bit longer. You want to make sure that there's no pain with this. You're trying to jiggle around the lymph nodes and get them moving. Massage gun works absolutely spectacularly for that. That's it. If you go through all of this, let's see here. If you wanted to do everything, let's say we're just going to test your squat. So take 30 seconds to kind of go down to your squat, feel what that feels like, move around a bit. Okay, so 30 seconds in. Actually, let's just say 1 minute for the sake of easy math. 1 minute to kind of test out your squat, see what it's like. Foot massage, that's on both sides. Shin massage on both sides, calf massage on both sides. So that's 4 times 3, that's 12 minutes. We're now at 13 minutes. 14, 15, 16, 17 minutes, 18, 19, 20, 22 minutes. All of this on all 4 bits. What was that, 22? So 24, 26, 28, and we're at 30 minutes. Ankle and hip flossing on, again, all 4 bits. So that's both ankles and both knees. Would say knees and thighs, not knees and thighs. Does that make sense? What were we at? 28 minutes, so 32, 36 minutes. And then all of this will bring you up to like 40 minutes. So 40 minutes to go through all of this if you really wanted to. And then, of course, retest your squat. You can do that, definitely. Like if you want to have, I'm not going to the gym today, I'm just going to have an hour dedicated to me, go through all of this. Otherwise, pick about 4 or 5 drills. You should be taking about, well, let's have our closing remarks here, guys. This needs to be a daily practice. If you are struggling with an injury, we need to be committing to getting our bodies healed, not just resting, not just icing and ignoring the problem, because that's all that amounts to, guys. Daily practice every single day. Make sure that you're staying out of the pain cave. Voodoo floss is quite uncomfortable, but when you are massaging yourself, when you are using the massage gun, all that, no pain. At worst, at the absolute worst, it could be uncomfortable, but that's the worst adjective. So if you are going through this and you're thinking, you're dreading getting out those massage balls or the foam roller because it's a torture device, you are not using this right. And you need to get your ego out of this matter so you can actually heal and do what's best for yourself. They are not torture devices. They should leave you feeling rejuvenated, not scared and whimpering and in pain. 10 to 20 minutes a day. That's your minimum, but even just 10 minutes a day will provide a massive change for you. And then test and test and test. Don't be restricted to this. Don't be restricted to anything. Play around with your position because this is about finding what works best for you to improve your squatting so you can improve your athleticism, your pain, and your quality of life. Okay, any questions, please comment below. Please like, subscribe, ring the little bell icon if you're watching this on YouTube. Share this. If you know anyone who is struggling with running, share this with them. Anyone who's struggling with squatting and like lower body athleticism, we're thinking from the tip of your toes all the way up to the base of your knee, that kind of area, do this stuff. and share this with them. I provide free consultations to pretty much anyone in the world. You got my information down in the description. Get me on WhatsApp, send me a text. I will respond back to you within the next 24 hours. So if you are serious about leveling up your athleticism, about taking care of your pain and becoming a better human being, better athlete, get in touch. I will get back in touch with you. We will have a free consultation and get you started on a free strategy, free game plan for managing your pain. All right, guys, let's get after it and make ourselves way more awesome than you already are because, guys, you deserve it. You do not deserve to be living in pain with a lot of disease and dysfunction.